on.
So our assignment was to come up with a topic or a trend that we were interested in sharing. And I'm most interested in the flexible learning spaces for 21st century learners. And it's in the emerging trends. And I'm mostly interested because I am transitioning my classroom from a traditional classroom into a flexible learning space classroom. I want to take a look at some of these classrooms and see how familiar they look, because if we go back 100 years, a little over 100 years ago, we can see that the kids were sitting in rows, talking to nobody, reading their book, just silent. If we jump up to 1919, it's almost like the same class, just sitting in rows, reading their books silently, talking to nobody. In 1950, the kids are still in rows, their eyes are still forward, they're still not talking to anybody. And in 1965, again, eyes are forward, not talking to anybody. What a bunch of well-behaved students. In 1974, it's the same idea. They're still sitting in rows, still not talking to anybody. Their eyes are forward on the teacher, and there's no discussing taking place. Now, I understand those are a little bit older. If we take a look at some present day pictures, this picture looks pretty promising. We see some high engagement from the one little girl right in front with her hand up. So she's doing everything that we would expect one to do. But if we take a look to the minds of the other kids around her, they could be thinking things like, well, why won't my fidget spinner spin? And, oh, I really gotta pee. Do my nails match my headband today? And this one little girl was thinking, well, I know the answer and I'm the only one listening to the teacher. And that's pretty much what happens, is one student is very involved while the rest of them are kind of off in their own world. So what we see from the outside looking in looks really good. The kids are sitting in rows, check. Their eyes are all facing forward, check. Their voices are off, check. Raising their hands when they want to say something, check. And they're sitting still, check. So from the outside looking in, it looks like a really well-behaved, well-run classroom. But here's what we don't see. We're not seeing any communicating or collaborating or critical thinking or creativity occurring at all. In the cartoon, it says, I think it's an exaggeration, but that there's a lot of truth in saying that when you go to school, the trauma is that you must stop learning and you must now accept being taught. In other words, your teacher's teaching you, but you're not really learning. Why are these 21st century skills so important? They call these the 4 C's: communication, collaboration, critical thinking, and creativity. These are the skills that our students are going to need to be successful adults. On the website Getting Smart, the author stated many of our schools were simply not built for the needs of today. If we look further on her quote, there are some buildings that were designed for the ways schools operated 50, 60, or 70 years ago. Makes me think a little bit of the old Model T. We've updated cars, we've updated houses, we've updated so much with technology, and yet our classrooms have not been updated. So how can we fix this problem? We can create learning spaces to support the 4 C's, to support the communication, collaboration, critical thinking, and creativity that these kids need to practice. What does it look like? It looks like students sitting on the floor communicating with each other. It looks like kids laying on comfies and pillows and collaborating. It looks like kids using ginormous whiteboards. That would be such a cool classroom, doing some problem solving and critical thinking. And it looks like creativity happening. Kids are using the engineering design process to improve and build upon past products. Benjamin Franklin said, tell me and I forget, teach me and I remember, involve me and I learn. For the past 100 plus years, we've been telling students and they forget. We've started to teach them and they're starting to remember. But for the 21st century skills, we really need to involve them so that they can learn them. Which learning spaces do you think are going to help our students build these critical skills that they're going to need to be successful adults? That's why I am transitioning my classroom into a 21st century classroom.